Welcome back to another trading bot tutorial. This is a huge one as I've surpassed $100,000 in profit using 3COMMAS trading bots. So this video is a culmination of my trading journey starting with day one all the way through reaching that 100K. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to get started on your very own 3COMMAS trading bot journey. There'll be links to everything in the description of the video below, and most of the links there will give you a discount of some sort, so definitely check it out. I'm also going to cover tips and tricks that I learned on my personal journey to pass on to you. Then we'll move into some community questions that I also wanted to answer. I'm going to discuss some short-term minor changes I've made to my trade alt settings since video one, but don't worry, the original settings are completely fine in my opinion. These are just a few tweaks I made for the current market conditions. I can't possibly share every single detail you need to know, as a video would literally be 10 hours long, which is why I want to walk you through the trading bot series I've already done, which teaches you how to use the 3COMMAS system. It demonstrates how you set up your very own trading bots. I literally walk you through step by step how to set up your bots, and I show you the exact settings that have got me to the 100K mark. So I give you the exact settings that I use there, so definitely check that out. It's my goal by the end of the video that you're going to have a clear picture of the next steps you need to take if you're interested in running your own trading bots, or for the amazing, outstanding, awesome community that has been with me since video one. Hopefully you learned something useful as well. So without further ado, let's get to the video. Here's a disclaimer. Please pause the video and read this. It's very important. All contents for educational entertainment purposes only. Nothing's financial advice. So this is just a quick look at something that's relatively new. It's actually we have a VIP tier in Discord now. I have a Patreon, so that will be linked in the description of the video if you are interested. But I'm going to talk more about this at the end of the video because I want to just get to the bot stuff, right? I don't want to do a bunch of advertising here, but I did want to point this out. So if you're interested in learning more, this will be at the end of the video. All right, so here we go. So January 29th of this year, 2021, this message that you're seeing up here, again, same thing that I went over in video one, but this is a message to my personal Facebook friends, right? So this is like before I had a community, but I was just sharing with them, you know, I've made over $30,000 in profit so far. Nice passive income. Really like that. Should hit well into the six figures for 2021. January is close to $10,000 profit for that month alone. So that was a really good month. But again, should hit well into the six figures 2021, and it's August and I did it. So I was pretty happy about that. And I think, like, you know, again, should have a pretty good finish to the year. We'll see how this account, you know, goes moving forward. But again, you can see the difference. So January 29th, $30,000, right? Just over $30,000 profit. And then from video one, which is February 28th, which is essentially a month later, you see my total profit's $44,769, right? So that's pretty good month that we had here. So let's go look at current today, see what the account's at. All right, so here, 3commas.io. This is my account. I'm gonna click my deals again. That way you can refresh, get you some new data to look at. And again, today's profit, $102.23. Not too bad. We're not that far from daily, where daily close was. So it's a decent start to the day. Total profit though, which is why we're here, $101,493.88. So that is the milestone. And a little bit above it now. Active deals, only 21. You know, I did take some bots down just because I'm doing a bit of shifting around exchanges at the moment. But, you know, I've been running about this many for a little while now. But they're a little heavier, I guess you could say. Like the base order safety orders are a little larger than I typically run. But, you know, I think at my peak, I was running 51 bots or 54 bots or something like that. I had, you know, it was pretty crazy back in May. And then obviously, like, I de-risked, you know, which I'll talk about later in this video, what exactly I did, like what exactly that means. And so currently, again, running 21 bots, and it's going well. It's going really well. I can't complain. Active deals reserve is really low, which is really nice to see. And then you can see the two of the bots that I'm running here. With that being said, I just wanted to show you $101,493.88 total profit, and that's since May 29th of 2020. So I've been running I've been running this account nonstop every day since then. And yeah, just give you the update, live data. So account size starting out, this is literally day one, how I started, how much money I started with, my plan, and it's initially like how I scaled up from my starting capital to the capital that I'm using today. Okay, because I think this is really important information. Obviously, it's nice I made $100,000 profit, but I want to give you kind of specifics, as specific as I can be, to give you an idea of like what it took to get it. Okay, so and obviously, like, this is from memory. I was definitely not planning on doing trading bot videos last year, so it's not like I was writing every little single detail down, like the date, exact date and time I put X amount of money into like the trading bot, like the allocation or whatnot. It's not like I'm doing this from memory, but it's as good as I can remember. So the date and account size, I started on May 29th, 2020. I started with about $5,000 in capital, but I tested really small amounts. I was absolutely fully covered, meaning like my bots could have filled the safety orders, and I would not need more than 5K in capital, right? So I ran that for several months, and the reason is simple. It's 3COMMAS was a new platform to me at the time, right? I hadn't, as far as trading bots goes, like I've used it for other stuff, but I've never like actually run bots. So as far as reliability goes, I wasn't sure, which is why I really recommend that people start out slow, because like you need to feel relatively comfortable with like the tools that you're using for trading, right? So if you're using the trading bots, you should feel comfortable in how, as far as how does 3COMMAS perform for what you expect, right? Like, is your money, like, are your deals closing when they're supposed to? Are they starting when they're supposed to? Like, is it working properly, right? So I started out slow. I think for about 4 months or so, 4 or 5 months, I was running really low amounts because I was just really like giving it time to, prove to me that it was going to be worthy of a larger investment, right? So after that initial test, and this is where I was testing different, I was testing, basically like different settings, and I was trying to figure out like what was the best option, which eventually, I settled on the settings that I talked about in video 1, which I'll talk about here in just a second. But it was basically a testing phase, but it's a really, really critical phase because it gave me confidence in the 3COMMAS platform, and like it gave me more confidence watching the trading bots do their thing, and obviously making adjustments to the settings, seeing how that's going to affect your profitability. And eventually, like, it got to a point where I felt much better about it, or like I felt good about it, right? So I put more money in. So eventually I scaled up to 30K. But again, started with 5. I think I worked, it was like November-ish. I put in another 5,000. So I think I was up to 10,000 at that point. And then like things were really starting to take off like really well. And then, so by video 1, which was, what was it, February, I think? I was up to 30K on my for my account size, as far as like what I was willing to allocate towards the bots. So that's essentially like the history for, when I started, how much money I started with, and what I, kind of like how I scaled it up to, like what I'm using today. Obviously, you don't need to start with $5,000. If you don't have 5,000 to start, you can definitely start with less. It's, and I have a lot of content out there like discussing that specifically, like what, like what types of settings you can use for like a specific size account. So you don't need that much, but like if you're in it, you have to understand as well that you have like, there are kind of costs to being in it, you know, like depending on how serious you're going to be. But when you have a 3COMMAS subscription, that costs money, you know, whether or not you're using TradingView, which you don't need TradingView. And I'm just saying, like, there are some things that, you know, you can have kind of fixed costs that you need to make sure that you're covering. You need to make sure it's worth it to yourself, right? So the second thing, fully covered or not. So basically, really quickly, but being fully covered means is that you have enough capital set aside to be able to fill every safety order that, like, for every bot that you have. It's essentially saying that, you know, even if your bots maxed out the amount of capital that you allocate per bot, you're still fully, like, you're still covered. You have enough money to pay for all of that, right? Essentially, like, be able to fill all those orders. So for me, you know, in the beginning, I was running fully covered, you know, for like, especially like definitely the first few months, I was running fully covered because I wasn't like, it was more, again, like, I did this for fun, by the way. Like, this is like a fun project. I wasn't really concerned about how much capital I was like, or how much like money I was going to make out of it, but obviously it ended up being a decent amount. And then I scaled up from there. And this is part of, like, this is a really important thing. And like, this needs much more attention, which again, I'm going to direct you to different videos. But once we kind of got the testing phase out of the way, I was running probably 3 to 4x above being fully covered, meaning I was like over leveraged essentially. So I didn't have enough capital allocated towards the bots in case, you know, again, if every bot filled every safety order and like maxed out the allocation for that specific, you know, for that set of bots, I wouldn't have had enough money on hand to be able to take care of that, to be able to let all of the orders filled. But the reason why, and this is very important, so the reason why you might consider doing that is because how often do you actually expect that sort of scenario to take place, right? Where every bot you have gets fully filled, like, because that means the market probably has a severe correction or crash, right? So how often, you know, when you watch your bots and they're only filling a few safety orders because the market, you know, again, if the trend is up, market's doing relatively well, or you're sideways, and, you know, you're filling, you know, maybe half your safety orders at the most, a lot, like the big majority of the time, essentially, then you want to be able to maximize the amount of capital that you're putting out there as well, right? So that's kind of one way to do that. It's basically to run more bots, or, you know, like, I prefer more bots, but like, it's basically to run more bots or to have higher base order safety order size. That's essentially going to give you a bigger return. Like, it's going to pay, you're going to get more profits out of that. But obviously the risk, again, is not either you're fully covered or you're not fully covered. And if there is a severe, you know, like a big correction or like a May 19 type crash, then, you know, if you're, depending on how over leveraged you are, it could be a problem, right? So that's the flip side of it. But again, most of the time I was definitely running over leveraged. And for me, again, like, I have the capital necessary to fix any problem that I needed to fix. So it wasn't a concern to me, you know, it wasn't that bothered. Like, if all of my orders filled and if I needed to, like, get more capital to infuse to the bots to help fix, you know, like, to be able to help them fill their safety orders, I was prepared to do that. So that's another thing that you need to consider when you're like, when you're basically coming up with your plan. Like, what are you comfortable with, right? So like, if you want to set aside X amount of funds for your trading bots, you have to think at the same time, like, do I have kind of this emergency stash that's available just in case I need it, right? Like, if you're going to run kind of with, you know, if you're going to run over leverage to a degree, or like you're going to run like heavier like that, it might not be a bad thing to have kind of like this emergency stash set aside just in case, like, just in case you need it. Okay. So did I compound? So this is a really important topic, and really, this is a video I'm actually going to do pretty soon. But did I compound the funds or add funds? Somebody asked me this the other day. Now, I was taking profit in base pair. right? So for those of you again who are familiar with the 3COMMAS platform, I was taking profit in crypto essentially. Like I wasn't using the trading bots to make more dollars. I'm fine with my dollars. I mean, you always want more dollars, right? But like I thought that there was a much bigger opportunity building the bag, building your profits in crypto. So essentially whatever pairs I was trading, if it was Cardano, if it was Litecoin, if it was Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever, right? Like I took profit in those coins versus taking profit in USD. So that being said, like you're not earning any USD, right? So the funds that I needed, in order for me to compound my allocation, right, my capital for my bots, I manually added that myself, like out of my funds. But there is obviously a point and like to where you want to understand compounding. And essentially like that's taking your profits that your bots are making and rolling it into either new bots or increasing your base order, safety order size, that stuff, right? It's essentially putting your profits back to work for you. So that's a really important subject that I'm going to talk about in the near future. But I just wanted to clear that up because I thought that, again, that was a really good question. It's really important. I added the funds manually because I had the funds and I was taking profit in crypto. So like if I'm taking profit in crypto and I'm holding all of the money, like all of the profits that I made, that's all sitting in Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, right? Like whatever coin that I was taking or trading, then I couldn't have any more USD from the bots to be able to compound, if that makes sense. So now we're going to talk about what you need to start. And this is, this is for anybody in the community, anybody who's watching this, especially if you're new and you haven't even seen some of like the entire series that I've done so far on these trading bots. But this is the most comprehensive introduction that I'm going to try to give to you because it's immensely important. And I want to make sure that anybody who is looking to do these trading bots, right, that you have as much information as you possibly can to make the best decisions for yourself to be able to like help yourself out, right? So what do you need to start? And there will be links for everything in the description of the video. So scroll down where the description is, make sure like you open it, so you can see the full description and it's going to have all the links, everything that you need to get started properly. Okay. So first of all, when you leave here, if you haven't watched the videos or watched the trading bot videos, this is your trading bots guide. This is the first thing to watch because it's going to really help you get set up and prepared for the rest of the series. And then you'll see what I mean here in a second if you're new to the community. And then you're going to watch this. So this is like the video, right? This is trading bots. This is kind of what started everything. This is what started the community, which we have a phenomenal community. But that is like in that video there, you'll see exactly, I literally go into detail. I show you multiple examples, exactly how to set the bots up using like the same settings I've used to get the $100,000 profit. Those settings are in that video. So this video right here on the bottom. So they are in there. Like I walk you through exactly how to set everything up. So it's very much, it's all in there. So what do you need to start? So watch the how-to series that I did, right? Which essentially starts with these two videos. And I'll show you here in the next slide. But these two videos is where you want to start. This is one, then this is two. So I'm going to show, again, I show you exactly how to set the bots, of what settings to use. There's so many hours of free content. Again, the links will be in the description. The second thing, this is really important as well. Join our free Discord and our Telegram. So they're both free to join the Discord. We have an amazing community there. I think in Discord, we have over 6,500 members in there. Telegram, I think we have over 2,500. But we have some amazing members in there who are incredibly helpful. Like they're very knowledgeable and they take time to help. There's a lot of new members that come in there and they have questions, obviously. But we have a phenomenal community. So definitely come in, say hi. Especially if you're even if you're thinking about doing this, you can come in and say hi if you have questions. But we have a great community. I'm very proud of that. So like, and we've built probably one of the best premier trading bot communities out there. I will put that out here on YouTube. Like, I really do think we have one of the best communities. And then so obviously, like, the videos, critical, right? Because they're going to give you all the details. They're going to give you literally the settings, everything. And then the community aspect is really important because that's like your support system, right? So if you're going to put money on the line, wouldn't it be nice to be able to network with other people who are also putting money on the line and making money every day, right? Like these, like, there's members who post, you know, and like they share every day, like how much profits they've made, what kind of day they had, expectations, that type of stuff. So like, wouldn't it be nice to be part of a community again that like is like we take time to help each other, essentially, right? So that's really important. And then you need a 3COMMAS subscription, obviously. Like, which level you need depends on how many features like you want to run, right? So that's, you know, again, that's all covered in the other in the videos. But you obviously need the 3COMMAS subscription to be able to run the bots, right? That's the platform that you use to run the bots. And then you need an exchange, at least one exchange. And I really like Binance. So like the Binance platforms, either Binance or Binance US, I like those are just my go-tos for trading bots. They work phenomenally well. There's, you know, again, with 3COMMAS, it's just like, it's a really good exchange to use. Obviously there are other ones, and if you want to learn more about it, again, there's videos where I talk about it. But I'm really, you know, I really do like Binance platforms quite a bit. And there's also links to the description in the you know, in below the video. And then lastly, start your bots, right? So you have all the information, you have the community, the support group, right? You have your 3COMMAS platform, you have your exchanges where you're going to be trading. And even like if you're not sure like how to set up an exchange, I actually have a video on Binance US to like how to set up your account. So like and like talk you through how to use the exchange. So there's lots of resources out there. But anyway, so this is, again, very, very important. Now, this is really important, okay? And I'm just going to go through this very quickly because this is a lot of information here. But these are the videos to look for. And I really encourage you to watch every single video that is on this screen. And there's even bonus videos that aren't on here that I think are really important as well. But this is the series so far. Like, we're still going, but this is the series. So you're going to start, again, this is Trading Bots number 1. So the guide back on this one, this is where you want to start, but I didn't put it here because I ran out of room, but this is where you want to start. And then you have this is like the video, right? That gives you the basics, like this, the settings, everything you need to know how to set your bots up is in that video. And then we move on to Trading Bots number 2, which is basically a follow-up. I answer questions in there, give you more information. Trading Bots 3, I talk about selecting which alts to trade. So like I talk you through how, like you go through and look at which coins, which pairs you might want to trade. So that's really important. Trading Bots number 4, literally the number 1 question that gets asked, how to get started with a small account. So remember I said I started out with 5K. You don't need to start out with 5K. Okay, if you want to start off with 2K, for example, like that video is literally based on a $2,000 account size. And I walk you through exactly what exactly what you could do to set yourself up with a $2,000 account. Now, again, if you wanted to use more than that, you can kind of use that as a baseline, right? And like make adjustments. So either multiply kind of like what you see in the video, or if you want to use less, say you want to start out with $1,500, $1,000, something like that, then you can use that video as kind of a baseline to help judge like how many bots you'd be running, et cetera, right? Very, very critical video. Then video number 5, talk about the best exchanges that I like, and I talk about profit compounding in that video, at least a version of profit compounding. So that's a really good video. I give really good overviews on a few exchanges that I like to use, that I like to be on. Trading Bots number 6 is basically like, and I say critical update because it talks about there's some information that I found about an exchange that I talked about in Trading Bots 5 that I wanted to clear up in Trading Bots 6 that I thought was really important and really critical to using Trading Bots on that exchange. So like that's a really important one. And I talk about trailing take profit, stop loss, you know, that type of stuff. Trading bots number 7, creating custom signals on TradingView. So if you have your own strategy or you want to develop your own strategy, right, that involves signals. So like if you have, you know, a trading strategy of some sort, I literally walk you through how to create a custom signal on TradingView from start to finish, the whole thing. And then obviously trading bots 8, we talk about leverage trading, short bots a bit. There's an advanced version that is going to be coming out in the future. Whether or not that's, you know, I'm still not entirely sure about that one, like how I'm going to, like, if that's going to be like a private video or if that's going to be a public video. But that is something that I'm going to be working on. And then trading bots number 9, composite Gordon bots and trailing take profit update. So kind of giving you information about that stuff. But again, there's so much information here. There's hours and hours of content. Please take advantage of that and be as informed as you possibly can be. That way, when you start your bots, you have all this information. And I think it will answer a lot of your questions. I think it'll help hopefully make you feel more comfortable about using trading bots and just being more knowledgeable in general. And hopefully help you kind of tailor your strategy to your, you know, again, like your own situation, right? Like you want to be, you don't even have to necessarily use like the settings I talk about in video 1, but like it helps give you an idea. And maybe you could develop your own strategies, which in Discord, we have people who have their own settings and like they show their test results and they share with the community and all that. Like, again, the community is phenomenal. But please use the information that's here. So we're going to jump into the lessons learned. This is really, really important too. So like the lessons learned and helpful tips that I have for you. So again, from my trading bot journey, been in it a while. You know, I just want to share some of the important things that I've come across to, you know, again, that could potentially help you, hopefully help you out. So the first thing, which this, if you take anything away from this video, right, besides, I mean, obviously I'd think the most important thing so far is like, please use all the information that you saw in the previous slide. Like go check all those videos out and have as much information as you can so that you're as informed as possible, right? But this is something that, especially when you're first starting out, is really difficult. Because like if you see your bots, for example, that are filling safety orders, okay, and like you're kind of like seeing that you're getting like, you know, essentially whatever you're trading is going down, right? Patience is the most is probably the most important thing that I've learned early on. And that I try to preach as much as I can to my community, because patience is what keeps you in the game. Okay, so I really like try to avoid micromanaging your bots, and obviously it determines like, so like you have to determine your strategy and you let the bots trade the strategy, right? So if you're going to use the trade alt strategy, for example, you got to be really patient. And you have to let the bots do their thing. So like this literally was the most important thing that allowed me to achieve 100K is patience. If I didn't have patience, I would not have made anywhere near 100K profit. I promise you. Because I let the bots do their job. That's hard for a lot of people, because if they see a red bag, for example, or you have a, you know, let's say you have 30 safety orders and you know, 20 of them filled and you're panicking because like the market like isn't looking very healthy or something, right? On low time frame, like, oh man, like the market looks terrible, I'm scared, you know, and then you market sell or something and you just take the loss because you're worried about losing money or whatever. Like, again, it's really important to let the bots just do their job, even if that means that they sit with those red bags for a while. You know, it could be a few weeks, it could be a month, it could be longer. I don't know. Like I've had some deals that have taken, you know, 5-6 weeks. I think one took 2 months to close, which is an extreme example. But obviously, like it does happen from time to time, right? But it's really important. Like the market moves up or down. It, you know, it sometimes it moves a lot, meaning like there's incredible volatility, which is really awesome for trading bots. And sometimes it barely moves. So like, you know, and that's like I saw this, you know, from basically May, you know, mid-May to July when we were in that, and when Bitcoin was ranging, and it, you know, the bot profits, like the bot profitability slowed down like quite a bit, because like there wasn't as much volatility as there had been like previously, and people start to like, you know, they're like, oh man, like I'm barely, you know, making anything, and they're looking literally like every day they looking like, oh, I made this much today, like, you know, this wasn't like, this was a terrible day. And like you know, it's okay to look at how you're doing day to day, but really you have to have a higher time frame, right? Again, back to the patience, like understand like what's your goal, like what are you doing, right? Like why are you here? And just being really patient and letting the market do its thing, letting the bots do its thing. Because again, like when the market decides to move again, which we've seen over the last 30 days, then magically things like look, you know, things do really, really well. Again, like volatility picks up, you have like, you know, a lot of deals getting closed, a lot of profits, everybody's happy again. So the market moves in cycles, right? Up or down. Some days is going to be better than others, but it's important to look at the long term, higher time frame, and just be patient. So trading versus USD, this is one that I've talked about quite a few times, but I thought it was really important to bring up again. So like I don't like to trade versus Bitcoin or ETH. Now I love to do it when I'm manually trading, like when I'm like trading my portfolio, right? Not using trading bots. But when it comes to trading bots, I really prefer to trade versus USD, right? So like I like to use USD or USDT or a stable coin pairing, right? Because it's, you know, there's more, you kind of have, you know, when you have a stable coin, essentially like whatever asset you're trading, so let's say Bitcoin, for example, you're trading Bitcoin versus the dollar, you know, or well, that's kind of a bad example, but like let's say you're trading, you know, Litecoin versus the dollar. Essentially, like Litecoin is going to move in the general direction of the market. So if Bitcoin's going up, Litecoin versus USD is going to go up, very likely. If Bitcoin's dropping, Litecoin versus the dollar is going to drop as well, very likely, right? So like those moves are easy to understand. But when you pair two volatile assets, so again, the dollar's not really volatile, right? I mean, it's called a stable coin, like it's relatively stable. But when you pair two volatile assets like Litecoin, which is an altcoin, right? And then you want to trade Litecoin versus Bitcoin, things get really like, it requires, you know, I would say like unless you're at least have like a beginning level, at least of, you know, like an understanding of technical analysis, I'd be really careful trading that because they can explode either direction. And you have to be really prepared for that, which again, like Bitcoin goes through phases where it'll just absolutely rip versus altcoins. And if you're trading Litecoin versus Bitcoin, you're gonna get really hurt, you know, which like I've seen. Like I did this early on, like when I first I did Kava, which is an altcoin, Kava versus Bitcoin, and that was one of my bots. I just tried it just to kind of test it out, and it was a terrible idea. Like Kava, you know, like I was running that one I was trying a short bot just to like test out short bots at the time. Terrible idea. I stopped that pretty quick. But again, like USD pairings, much easier in my opinion, like easier to monitor when you're trading. And I know people say, well, I want to accumulate more Bitcoin or I want to accumulate more ETH, and that's fine, but just be really careful, you know, or, you know, you could always convert some of your profits that you make from your stable coins into ETH or Bitcoin as well. Like that's an option. But also Binance has BUSD, which is their version of like that's their stable coin, right? Which can save you huge money on trading fees. I really do recommend that if you're able to trade on Binance.com. If you use BUSD and you use limit orders, there's no trading fee, and that's till the end of the year, December 31st. So they actually extended it. So there's another, you know, 3 months from today where you can take advantage of that. Now there's some exceptions to that. There are a few orders where you get a little bit of a fee, and they've never really had a good example or like a good explanation of it. But for the most part, like I noticed a massive, like a big difference in the amount of trading fees that I was using. So like just trading the BUSD pairs, and like I definitely recommend doing that if you're able to. So keep it simple. This is it's really important to understand the strategy you're using, right? So for the trade out strategy, I explain it pretty well in video 1, and I talk about it like throughout the series. It's like I explain how it works and why I like it, like why, essentially, again, and in Discord there's tons of resources there. So like I feel like I explained it pretty well, but the DCA strategy that I use is very simple to understand for the most part, and like helps me easily manage my bot portfolio. It's really simple. What I will say is be very careful following strategies that you don't understand fully, because if you jump in, like if somebody is sharing settings, or like, hey, I'm doing this, and you're just like, okay, I'm gonna like blindly follow people, right? Like you have to be really careful. And like this is the same with me, like with my settings. Like don't just blindly follow the settings because like I've done it and I've had success with it, and like other people are doing it and have success with it. It doesn't matter. Like you want to like vet things on your own and like really understand like the like the good and the bad of it, right? Because it's not all perfect. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. You know what I'm saying? Like there are some other things to take into account that could potentially happen, right? That wouldn't be good. But at the same time, I've been running it 15 months. We just went through a 60% correction on Bitcoin. The market like took a really big hit, and I came out fine. But that doesn't mean that's always going to happen. So I want to be very clear about that. But again, like if you see other strategies out there, just be like question it, and it's okay to question it, because like you need to understand what you're doing. And like when you're putting your money on the line, you want to make sure that it's like the reasoning behind it makes sense. Okay. So watch your risk. This is kind of what I talked about earlier. Running your bots fully covered, right? So when you have capital that you've allocated that will cover every single safety order and base order that you could possibly have with your bots, it's definitely less stressful worrying about what the market's doing or not doing, right? So like you're fully covered. If the market goes down again, you're not concerned about it. So like there's something to consider there. But when you run heavy, like when you're really over leveraged and there's a big correction like we had in May, it can and this happened, like you can really damage your account if you aren't careful and you don't understand. Again, it goes back to the strategy, like keep it simple, right? If you don't understand the strategy, or you're not sure like what to do if something happens, so like if you have a big correction or the market looks like it's going to correct, what do? Then just be really careful running that strategy if you don't fully understand it, right? So the whole risk aspect, again, if you're running like 300 to 400% over leverage, let's be really careful, because again, we have that kind of correction, like it's very possible that like you could run into trouble. So start slow, very important. I say this in oh my goodness, I'm pretty sure it's in every one of the videos, but the market, again, it'll be here tomorrow, next week, next month, like next year. The market will be here. There's no reason that you have to rush in and like run your full account size immediately. It's kind of like I talked about in the video, and what I was thinking about. Like I started very slow from myself, right? And like I took time to understand what I was doing before I added size, right? So there's nothing wrong with making, again, like testing the waters, making sure that you're comfortable with the capital that you're allocating towards your trading bots. And then once you're comfortable, then you can add size, because you understand how the platform works, how to make adjustments, how your strategy is doing, right? Like you have some data that to analyze, like that's giving you, hey, like this is working really well, or it's not working well, it looks like I should change this, right? So that's something that I would definitely say to everybody here, is start slow. There's no reason to go all in on day one. You don't have to do that. And then the last one, have goals. This is so important. So like why do you want, like, so you're watching this video about trading bots, right? Why are you watching this video? Like, think about it. Like, what goals do you have? Like, what's the purpose? What are you trying to achieve? And most people, that are watching this, I would say obviously like you're trying to make money, right? You want to, and you know, whether it be, you know, you just want to have another like side income, stream of income, you want some passive income coming in. I think obviously that's probably where most people fall. Like, but like you have to go into bigger depth, in my opinion. Like, how much return are you expecting? Like what, like you have to have an expectation, right? But you have to have realistic expectations as well. Like how long of a time horizon are you planning on? Because again, if you're going to be micromanaging every hour, like worried about each deal that's closing, like you have to think like, is this something for you? Right. Because again, like for myself, I mean, like I have my screen up every day. And of course, like I'm refreshing because it's cool to refresh and like see the deals that close or whatnot, right? But like I am not making adjustments to my, like it's super rare that I make any adjustments to my bots because they're very much passive. I run them passively. I make money every single day, and I just let them do their thing. You know, like they've made me $100,000 or over $100,000 now in profit, and I don't see a reason to like be in there micromanaging something that is making me money. Right? If anything, I'm just going to give it more money to use. But like, I'm happy with how my settings are. And, you know, but again, like everybody has to have goals. And like, are you going to be an active manager of your bots? Meaning like you're going to be in there every day, tweaking your settings, trying to maximize every penny that you're going to make out of it? Or are you going to be a passive investment? And which is very much like myself. Like I'm definitely more passive. I set it and forget it for the most part. Right. So like you got to think about those things, but you got to understand why you're in the game. Like, why are you interested in trading bots that way? And like, what are your goals? Are they realistic? Like, are you going to be happy doing this? Like, is the risk worth doing? Is it, you know what I'm saying? So like really important, because you got to kind of have that discussion with yourself to make sure that you have, you know, as good of a chance for success as possible. So this is a section for community Q&A. And basically, you know, again, these are questions that get brought up or questions that are very recent, and I just want to go over them because I think, again, it's going to help. Like maybe these questions didn't get answered as well as they could have been in previous videos or whatnot. So this being the type of video that is kind of like a capstone video, if you will, right? I wanted to go over some of those. So the first question, are you still using your standard settings? So the answer is yes and no. And by standard settings, it's the settings that I literally share in video 1, right? Now I will say there's nothing wrong with the settings in video 1. Perfectly fine using those. They're like, I would be totally happy using those settings. But I did make a little bit of adjustment, and it's just a very small adjustment, 2 adjustments. The first one is the take profit. I actually lowered to 1.25%. So in the, you know, in video 1, it's set to 1.5%. In this environment, absolutely nothing wrong with using it. If you want to use 1.5%, totally cool. No problem there. But like, I actually like 1.25%. It's kind of like the sweet spot for me as far as like my results that I've seen. But again, 1.5%, nothing wrong with it. If you want to use that, feel free. The only other thing you're going to notice, right? So TP is take profit. That's 1.25%. BO stands for base order. And I'm using for Cardano, this example, is $20. The SO, which is safety orders, starts at $50. And then I have a 2% safety order deviation, right? So that's all the same. You know, everything's the same. The only exception is that you'll notice the safety order. If you follow what I've talked about in my previous videos, I like to double my safety order, right? So if my base order is $20, my safety order should be $40. That's just what I like. I've changed it though, just because, again, like this is like a minor switch. But the type of market that we're in right now, I like to have a little slightly larger safety order, like the initial safety order. And this is really only going to impact like the first couple safety orders. After that, it becomes kind of irrelevant, to be honest with you. But when you have a, you know, a market that's uptrending, which like we have been, right? You know, Bitcoin went from 30,000 all the way up to 50,000. You know, basically, you know, it's basically been a straight ride up. on this bounce. So as far as alts, which have done really well, altcoins have done they've done very well. Basically, what increasing your safety order slightly will do is, again, it'll bring down your take profit target. It'll because that bit or the safety order is heavier. It's not just $40, it's $50. It helps you kind of get in and out of deals a little bit quicker, and you have a little bit more size to your account as well. And like, because a lot of the safety orders aren't being filled as deeply as they would be in like a sideways or down market, right? So like, if you're not having a lot of safety orders filled, for me, at least increasing the size helps maintain profitability. So that's why I made that change. But again, if it was $20, if the base order was 20 and the safety order was 40, totally fine, not a big deal. It's just I made that little tweak. But everything else is the same. So just to be clear, the standard settings, nothing wrong with them. But I figured I would just show kind of what I'm running now for, again, the type of market that we're in. I like these have done very well. So next question. So why don't you just use a composite bot if you're, I get this question all the time. So again, why don't you just use a composite bot if you're going to run multiple bots with the same settings anyway? Just use a composite bot. It's easier. Well, not really, because so for myself, yes, I do run very similar settings for almost every bot, and like a lot of them are going to be the same. But the base order and the safety orders are not the same across the board. It depends what asset I'm trading. So like there's some alts, like there's altcoins where I'll have smaller. There's some altcoins I'll have larger. Like you can't do that with a composite bot. Everything has to be the same, right? So that's why. That is literally the only reason why I don't run composite bots, is for that fact of I like to have complete control of each individual bot that I have. I like to be able to adjust anything that I need to. And the thing is, it doesn't take me that much time, right? So if you're running 20 or 30 bots, it sounds like a lot, but it doesn't take me much time to go in and make an adjustment if I need to. It's not like I need, like to try to save myself some time or anything like that. So that is why I don't use composite bots, like, again. But if you're using the same, if for yourself, if every setting is the same, your base order, safety order is the same, everything's the same, absolutely use a composite bot. There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing is you're not going to be able to have the open new order ASAP, which I do like. But I mean, there's, I believe there's TradingView 1 minute buy, like that's pretty darn close. Like there's stuff that, like will work just fine. But I just prefer the separation just because I like to, like if I want to change some of the base order, safety order size, I want to be able to do that and not have to like mess with composite bots. Next question. Do you make any adjustments when an exchange is going down for maintenance? So this happens. So for those of you who are new to trading, every now and then, whether it be Binance or Coinbase, like that when they do their maintenance, they have to take their site down. They have to take all their trading offline, right? So that's going to affect your bots, because if the exchange that you're connected to is in trading, like obviously you're going to have deals that are going to be open. The rest of the market doesn't just stop just because an exchange goes, a particular exchange goes down for maintenance. It still moves. So there is a risk of like the market doing something crazy, which hasn't really happened anytime recently. This used to happen though, when certain exchanges like, BitMEX, or like there was a few exchanges that would cause a lot of problems when they went down. Like a lot of problems, but that hasn't happened like anytime recently, at least to my knowledge. But the answer is no, I don't make any adjustments. So some people, and again, this comes down to risk tolerance, right? If you're worried, you want to protect your capital and you're like really concerned that something could happen while the exchange is offline for maintenance. And some of the maintenance, they're 15 minutes, 30 minutes, some of them it's a few hours. So it's like, that's also something to take into consideration. But for myself, doesn't matter. I don't make any adjustments. I just leave the bots as is. And when the exchange comes back online, then, again, like your bots basically reconnect, and whatever they are is where they are. And I've never had a problem, not once, because this happened. So I've never had a problem. That does not mean in the future that I'm not going to have issues, but to me, it's not worth dealing with. I just let them go. So that's what I do. but you can obviously do whatever you think is right. So this is also a really good question, and I actually saw this in one of the YouTube comments, and it's really important to me that people understand what I meant. So maybe I didn't do like a perfect job explaining it, but what do you mean when you say you de-risk back in May, right? So May 19th, big crash. Obviously, like a lot of bots were full of safety orders. It was pretty hectic, right? Like it was awesome though. That's honestly the best trading is when you have like the massive volatility days, not only from a trading perspective, like, you know, manual trading, but just from a trading bot perspective as well. Like when you get that kind of volatility, you can, like, those are your biggest paydays for sure. Like you can make, you know, like a lot of money when those types of events happen. But I'll tell you like really quickly what I mean. So when Bitcoin crashed, I mean, again, Bitcoin dropped 60% from all-time high. That's a big deal, right? At that point, I said, okay, so like it was clear, like it was relatively clear to me early on after May 19th happened that we were likely to spend some time down at the lows, like spend some time down, like, you know, it's like we weren't going to go straight back up to 60K, essentially is what I'm talking about. So knowing that that was very highly probable, I decided to take some risk off it. So I was running 51 trading bots up until May. And I cut my risk down to like 19, I think. So like I went from 51 bots down to 19. So how I did that, and I didn't lose money, is as deals were closing. So again, Bitcoin dropped all the way to like 29K, 30K, and had a massive bounce up to 42,000. It was a huge bounce, right? So it took like a good chunk of the trading bots that were full of safety orders, like way in the red. That big bounce back took a lot of those deals and closed them, like made them profitable. So it was a really good day for the bots. But essentially knowing that there was a lot of risk down at those levels, that we could potentially see even lower levels, right? Especially like altcoins were getting absolutely beat up during that time. I decided to, like, when I set my bots to essentially not open a new deal as soon as the deal closed. And that's what happened. So I went through and, you know, brought my risk down, which I was over leveraged like at the time. And then I brought my risk down to being fully covered. So that way, no matter what happened, like, again, all the capital that I had was more than enough to take care of any base order, like safety orders that needed to be filled, right? So I thought that was really important. And I was also on vacation for 2 weeks. So like this whole, like, that's another reason why I de-risked, is because during that time I was literally going on vacation and I wasn't going to be around for a couple of weeks to basically manage my bots if I needed to, right? Like obviously I have internet where I was going, but I didn't want to have to worry about it. So that's another reason that I did that. But again, de-risk is really simple. It's basically taking bots offline, right? I will never advocate market selling an order, like market selling a bot at a loss. I don't see, like, I think it's a terrible idea. Like there's no real need to lose money in my opinion. Like you just let the bots do their thing, right? But like when you have a super high volatility period where you're really concerned about how the bots are going to do going forward, right? There's nothing wrong with taking some offline. Like as soon as they close a deal, like it could be preset. You just go into your settings in your bots and you change the deal start condition. And you know, again, so once that bot closes, then it just essentially goes offline. And then they all do that until you like have like a more comfortable amount of bots running. And then from there, like once you have that under control, right? So you have your money under control, then you can make adjustments to which pairs you want to run, etc. Right? Then you can be a little bit more picky, and actually make those types of adjustments. But that's what I mean when I say that I de-risked back in May. Essentially, I just cut my, my risk back. Essentially, like that's what that means. So this one, I'm not, I do have, by the way, the trading bot videos are going to start coming out again. I did take a little bit of a break. I was really focused on technical. I had this other project that I was working on, which I'll talk about here in a second. Really focused on technical analysis, and just, you know, life essentially. Took a little bit of a break, but I do have a bunch of new content that I plan on releasing for trading bots. But now that I've hit my, essentially, I hit the target profit that I was kind of looking for, right? And so, like, thinking about what's next as far as trading bots for myself, you know, I'm probably just going to let this account continue to do its thing. But I did want to start a new account. I'm curious about what you guys think. If you put, you know, let me know in the comments what you think. But I was either thinking, you know, I could start a smaller account to kind of like, you know, like, because I think I get a lot of DMs and like a lot of questions about, you know, smaller account sizes and like how I would manage them essentially, right? Or I was thinking about doing a big account, right? So like a large account to, you know, which honestly for me would be more, a little bit more exciting. Because like with the account that I'm running right now, it's hard. It's, I mean, like it's nice to make 100K, but it's, you know, like I got, you know, my other trading and stuff that I do. I have a lot of other things, and you know, like it doesn't really take much priority. But it would be nice, I think, to try a larger account and have something a bit more substantial, something that's like really exciting to follow, you know? So you kind of let me know in the comments like what you think. Would it be more interesting to you to see a smaller account and like how you could, you know, essentially compound and grow that into something larger, which again, like this could take a long time to do, right? Or would it be more interesting to you to see a large account, right? Like a, you know, starting at least like a 6-figure account, and how I would manage that, and essentially the same principle, right? Like how I would compound that into, you know, an even larger sum. So what's interesting to you, let me know in the video. And that's something that, you know, I will have to discuss. This is obviously in Discord. I'm in Discord. We're going to talk about this because I do kind of want to get something else started now that I've hit this target, right? And so here, so this is something that I wanted to mention before the end of the video. So there isn't, like, I haven't really talked about this. This is something that I started in July, and there's a new VIP tier in Discord. So I do have a Patreon now, and the link is going to be in the description of the video. But basically what the VIP role is in Discord is we do VIP only live streams. We have a technical analysis channel where I share all my charts and stuff. We do VIP only advanced technical analysis tutorials. So I do release free, you know, like I had talked about this for quite a while. Like I do release free content to the public. Like I have my entire trading bot series has been all free to the public, you know? But again, so for the VIP role, you get direct access to myself. I have 3 amazing trading bot coaches that are in Discord that are accessible if you have questions. You obviously get a VIP custom Discord role, which is this right here. You get access to the VIP voice chat channel, which we use almost every single day. It's so much fun. If a member has a question, instead of me sitting there typing everything out, which I usually do anyway, but like I'll just say, hey, like meet me in voice chat, and we'll have a voice chat session one-on-one, or you know, or sometimes people will jump in, and we'll have like a large group discussion. But that's always really cool. And the nice thing about that is I can actually screen share as well, so we can go over charts together and talk to each other. Like it's awesome. You get a one-time 20% discount on one-on-one trading bot coaching. So if you wanted to book a private one-on-one with any of our trading bot coaches, you get a discount there. And then VIP, so advanced trading bot tutorials. So these are not released to the public. Anything that you see that says VIP, so the technical analysis tutorials, the trading bot tutorials that are advanced, like those will not be released to the public. That would be VIP only, Patreon only. So that is a benefit. And then obviously priority access to trading bot support. If there's a problem, if you're having an issue with your account or you're not sure about something, you can tag me in the VIP tier, or one of the coaches. We're happy to help you. Like we'll, make sure that you're taken care of. And then obviously Patreon only updates. Like these are all the posts that I share on Patreon. They're all be unlocked. All the videos that we do, everything is recorded. So again, if you miss a live stream where we're going over stuff, I record every single one. And that way, when you have time, you can come back and watch it at your leisure, essentially, right? But I think we've had a lot of fun. We're very technical analysis focused, to be honest with you. And this is a trading bot video, so it's a little bit different. But we're definitely technical analysis focused. But obviously, like we do discuss trading bots. Like that's the thing. And there's going to be some like quite a bit of trading bot content coming out very soon. So like people are curious about, leverage bots, short bots, that type of stuff. That's all definitely going to be in VIP, 100%. So I just want to give a quick rundown again. I saved it to the end of the video because I didn't want to like take up everybody's time in case, people don't want to hear advertising and all that in the beginning. But I just thought I would point, like kind of share this because it's a lot of, we have a ton of fun in VIP, and we have a lot of really awesome people there that are learning a lot of, like technical analysis stuff. It's really cool to see. So I just gave you a really quick tour actually in VIP. So here's your announcements, but this is basically where I share every video, or I say, hey, I'm going to do, we're going to do a live stream or whatever. Like here's one that I just recently did. It was supposed to be just a real quick live stream. So I remember I had a question, and it ended up turning into an hour and 13 minutes of like a full-on analysis. Like you see the chart and all that. So like it was just a real quick, hey, like instead of me typing this out, just jump in here and I'll tell you. And it turned into, a big session. And here's another one, same thing. We were just kind of hanging out in voice chat, and some of the VIPs we were just, kicking back, talking about stuff. And then somebody asked a question, and then it turns into a full-blown technical analysis video. So obviously like this was recorded. And what was awesome about this one is we actually, like I went through how I find trade zones. Like how do I look for actual trades? So like we actually looked for two specific entries of interest, right? So like this was a really good video. And then so VIP only, support resistance level. So this will never, this is not going to be in public, but this was made just for the VIPs, talking about support resistance, and like there's some advanced topics that we are covering. So it's another thing that is, that you're going to be able to get in VIP. And then this is obviously my channel where only I post in here, but it's mostly analysis stuff. And I literally give support levels, or like I give levels that I'm watching, right? Like important information, talking about market structure, that type of stuff. Like I put all of my analysis in here for people to follow. So all the VIPs will get all of this stuff. And we obviously have a bot talk. And you can we have an NFT chat, which is really there. I actually spent quite a bit of time in there as well. But here's our VIP voice chat right here. So like this is where we, we actually use this pretty extensively. So that wraps up this video. And again, everything that I discussed, especially in the beginning, everything that you need to get started, it's all going to be in the link in the description below. If you have any questions, that type of stuff, like this is where you can find our community. We have an outstanding community. I put Discord up here because this is where I am 99% of the time. So this is like I spend all of my time in Discord. Again, if you are interested in joining the Patreon, the VIP tier, you're going to need Discord to be able to access that. So there is an invitation link in the description below. So Discord is free, just to be clear. The VIP tier is just another separate tier. That like if you join if you join Discord through this link, you're not going to see the VIP tier until you get access. But the rest of the Discord though, again, we have a phenomenal community there. We have 6,500 people, a lot of really active, like really highly knowledgeable people in there, very helpful. So definitely come check this out. I highly encourage it. And then these are other places you can follow me. Obviously on Twitter, I post quite a bit of stuff on Twitter. So that's where you can find me. I do have a Facebook page. I'm not on there as much as I should be, to be honest with you. I probably need to go manage this a little bit better. Here's my YouTube channel, which is what you're watching on already. But again, it's a link to my YouTube channel. And then Telegram, we have, again, we have over 2,500 in Telegram alone. So another really awesome active place to be able to go. I think that if you have, if you have like, if you're looking for help, like really specific help, I definitely recommend Discord. It's just easier. And we have like pinned stuff, like announcements and stuff like that. Like it's easier to search for, like if you have specific questions, there's a search function and it's really easy to find that type of stuff. And it's just, again, it's just a bit larger, I mean, Telegram 2,500, Discord 6,500. So like there's just more people in there. So it might be easier for you to get your question answered quicker. But anyway, that's where you can find me. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that, again, like if you're looking to start trading bots, please make sure that you watch as much of the content as possible. It's all free. And it's just to make sure that you have as much information as you can to make a good, like a better decision for yourself, right? That being said, trade safe out there. We'll see you on the next video.